calm down, we'll get to you. There's only 3 of you. How bad would it be if you all died, okay? Then they got to walk it and look for where they go, oh, that's where it broke, and they have to get up there and do that. It's a little bit different. So the further out you are, if things go wrong, the longer it's going to take for them to get to you, all right, in terms of doing it. Yes, you're much less likely to have zombies walking through your neighborhood doing nasty things, but it's going to take them a long time to get to you because of the number of people that you have, the difficulties getting there. You ever take your fire truck up on any of these roads up here back in Malibu or whatever, with the low-hanging trees and so on and so forth. It takes forever to get there. It's hard to do. They don't want to lose a truck up there, okay? So in terms of that, be prepared to go longer periods of time than other people might be doing. This is a good time to talk about operational security. One of the great things about being on the Cert team is you can tell people at dinner parties and the parties that are coming up, 4th of July, whatever, that you're on the Cert team. You're going to have a t-shirt, a hat, and so on and so forth. But one of the bad parts about it is, I'm coming to your house. Okay? That's their survival plan, is coming to your house. Does that make sense? Yeah. So be prepared for the fact that people are coming to your house. So whatever you think you need, prepare for a little bit more because you're going to have people coming to your house. The more that they know about it. You've got the generator, that's fantastic. Your lights are on at 10 o'clock at night and everybody else's are off, and guess where they're coming? Yeah, they're coming to your house, right? So be prepared for that. Also remember that once they're in your house, okay, they may decide that they want everything in your house. You might want to think about how difficult it is to physically get into your house. You might want to think about once people are in your house, do you have other perimeters? Think of the castle. The castle has a moat, right? First you got to get over the moat. Then it's got a big wall, you got to get over the wall, and then once you get in, they even have other stuff that makes it hard to do. So you might have a moat, you might have a wall, you might have locks on your doors, but it wouldn't even be a bad idea that in the end you've got a room that's difficult for people to get into, that you have supplies and so on and so forth. Does that make sense? So that even if you are going to have everybody come in the neighborhood and wind up in your living room, it still would be nice that you have a room where they can't get into, or it's more difficult, because in the end, unless you're Mother Teresa, she's dead. So just think how this worked out for her, okay? Yeah. So once again, even if you're going to be doing that, that's important in terms of getting that going on. So those are some basics there. Now, other stuff. Start to think about what you might have to do in terms of getting home. We talked about the exercise with putting on your glovey thing. I know this is enormously inconvenient because even on the best days, traffic in Southern California is a national emergency, okay? It's incredible. It took me 2 hours and 15 minutes to go to 60 miles from Long Beach to here today, okay? And that's not rush hour, okay? That's just regular. Last week I had a teaching class in Riverside. It's 60 miles, it took me 3 hours. That's 20 miles an hour. Could have done it faster on my bicycle, okay? It's like, oh my God. And nothing bad happened, at least to my knowledge. I never got to see anything exploding or set something on fire. So I know you've already got that stuff, but you should start thinking about other ways that you can get if something isn't working. Does that make sense? If you live in Marin County, California, and you're in San Francisco, there's pretty much, besides swimming, which I have done, there's only one way to get over there, and that's to take the Golden Gate Bridge. Anything else makes you go all the way around, and it's going to take you forever and ever, amen, to get there. Even once you get in Marin, there's the 101 freeway that goes up and down, and none of the towns connect to anything but the 101. That's the origin of mountain biking. You may not know that, but that's how it originated. It was some smart engineer boys that were decided they didn't want to do the corporate thing and were building houses and being handymen. And they found that it was so difficult to do that they got Schwinn bicycles that they would have had as a paperboy and walked them up the hills and rode down the hills so they could avoid having to go back out to the 101 so they could get from Mill Valley to Sausalito to whatever without having to go back to the 101. It's not very good circulation, okay, in terms of a way of planning. Start thinking about if you couldn't get off at various exits, what would be your plan? What would be your plan if you were simply trapped on the 101? Yeah, there you go. And I know this is hard because first of all, it's your car. You're leaving your car. You're a nice person, so you're thinking when I leave my car, this is going to ball it up for everybody else because there's my car and they have to now go around my car and stuff like that. Give that up. Okay, it didn't work out so far for you, did it? No. It's not going to change, right? So once again, you're going to have to leave it and walk. An exercise everybody should do besides the gloved hand one, okay, and besides find another way to get home than the way you normally do, is everybody should find out whether they can walk 6 miles, okay? 6 miles is a minimum walk. In fact, where you are out here, I would probably say 10 is a better guesstimate. I'm in Long Beach, 4 would probably do it. That gets you out of the zombies. and in some places it's even worse, okay? You go from zombies to vampires, okay, in 4 miles. So once again, you're going to find that depending upon where you live, think about how far it is from you to walk from any one of these one-on-one exits to your house up this hill. Okay, so that's 6 miles up a hill, okay? Probably carrying something, okay? In your car, what kind of stuff do you have? Do you have shoes you can walk 6 miles in? Do you have clothing that's going to protect your legs, protect your arm, protect you from the sun, and so on and so forth? Gloves, so that when you have to like try to do things like turn off the gas, those kind of things, that you don't tear your hands up and so on and so forth, because you're going to need those. You're going to need your hands all over for the whole week, okay? And so if they're all torn up, you're going to find that once they get torn up, hands don't work very well. Right? So all those kind of little preparatory things that are very generalistic depending upon what your idea of what might happen is, okay? Now, other things that you want to be concerned with, communication plans. One of the things that you're going to find is it's going to be very difficult to communicate with people, and we are completely spoiled by how easy it is to communicate with people. We can text, we can talk, we can do email, we can do landline phones. We have a million different ways that you talk to people every day, and most of the time you wish them well, that they weren't, okay, calling you so many times. But you may be in a situation in which none of that stuff works. And you may have to have pre-planned things of where we might meet. And you might need more than one because it might be impossible to get to your house. It might be impossible to get to your place of work, the library, those kind of things. When we're talking about places that you want to meet, this goes back to some self-defense-y type stuff. Let's think about parking lot, the giant parking lot at the shopping mall, okay? Everybody's always afraid of being way out. The way out stuff, because that's where they're going to get you. Okay? What's the point of hunting where no one is, right? That's dopey, right? I mean, I might be waiting at the door for you to come out of the mall and walk behind you, and then realize you're not paying any attention to me following you, I'm not even making noise and so on and so forth, and you just keep walking. That might work for me. But if you want to get water, it's good to be someplace where there is water. Okay? So think about some of the places that you think you might want to go. Gas stations, places where they might have food and water, all those kind of places that are probably closed, but that's where people are going to be going. That's where people are going to be going to look for people. It's a watering hole. They're going to be looking for watering holes. So when you're picking a place for people to meet you, watering holes is generally not the best place. Because you don't want to be hanging out for 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours waiting for somebody to show up at the gas station down here when every Tom, Dick, and Harry is going to be pulling in realizing they don't have any gas. They're mad now. They can't get any gas. They don't have any water. Maybe if we break these windows, we can get in. And do you have any in your trunk? Okay, and suddenly you're into that environment. Right? So you might want to pick those as places that you'd be. Other places where it's unlikely people are going to go in a disaster. Very few people are going to want to like check out the Hardy Boys. So it's unlikely they're coming to the library. Does that make sense? Yeah, it's a place to go, but it's not the place that you're going to be hanging out because you think you need something good to read for the next 3 days while the internet is down. That makes sense. Get a good book. Settle down. I got a recliner. It's going to be okay. Right? Yeah, but that's not basically what's going to happen. Does that make sense? So that's another aspect of what you want to look at in terms of doing this. Now, for the people that did the exercise or at least thought about doing the exercise, give me some examples of some kind of problems that you might have either encountered or think that you might have encountered had you done the exercise. Yeah.
Case in point, our neighbor, actually this did happen the other night during this thing. His life alert button went off and the ambulance and the fire truck showed up. He's 90 years old. And normally that would not be the case. They wouldn't be there if that was a real thing happening.
Yeah.
And he actually fell and kind of slipped over to the side in his sleep and it went off.
Yeah.
But he could have fallen and, you know, there are going to be situations where these things are not going to be there for them.
Yeah.
These elderly
Most
people.
survivable, let's use the earthquake as an example. Most of the things that people survive in earthquakes that are bad are not the Bay Bridge crushing them underneath cars. We do hear that. That's amazing. 4 days later, fire guys come, they dig them out, they get them out of there. That's amazing. Okay. Most of the people that get hurt are getting hurt at stuff falling off of shelves and all those kind of things. What it takes to get hurt from those things is not very much. Okay. So once again, when you're looking around your house and that kind of stuff, things falling and so on and so forth, how would you get help? What would be your plan? Okay. And with a lot of people, the plan is going to be waiting a little bit longer. You might want to have people in your circle that you're going to check on. Okay. To physically go and check to see what's going on in those neighborhoods. you might decide that it's better to invite people over as opposed to waiting for them to come. Does that make sense? So once again, if I'm going to home invade your place, and you've already got 3 families that you've moved into your place, the chance of me deciding that's a good place to go have dropped. Does that make sense? Because there's too many people now. There's just too many people. Whereas if you're in your studio apartment in Long Beach all by yourself with your beautiful 1922 door, which is you just sneeze on it and it pops open, that's perfect. Because once I get inside of there with you, it's just you and me, and that's probably going to work out for me. There you go. So once again, there can be some safety and numbers issues. So you might want to pre-think who those people are, who you might want to wrestle up and go and do that. Part of it may be because you're altruistic. You and Mother Teresa are going to go get the poor guy next door because you know he can't move around and do that kind of stuff. And the other thing might be because you're thinking about me. And I would be on the argument that that's the only reason men ever do anything together. If Beethoven had had a music synthesizer and an iPhone, he never would have asked the other guys to come over. He just played all that music himself and laid down all the tracks, like Lenny Kravitz. That's what he would have done. But he found out the only reason he could make that music was he had to get a whole bunch of guys together to do it. So men generally tend to bond together because it benefits them personally, okay? That's the only reason we're putting up with Larry, right? Because Larry is good with numbers and we need somebody to make sure that we all don't go to jail for tax fraud. So that we're bringing into our group. So think about those kind of people that you might want to have in your group and how you might get to them. Sometimes you think that you want those to be the people that are the 4 people nearest to you, but it might be some benefit to having people that are outside of that group because you might not be at home when this happens, and it might be easier that he lives on this side of the 101 and you live on that side of the 101, and that may be the side that you can get to. Does that make sense? Don't make it so it's always a 5-minute walk. It might be that 6-mile walk we're talking about for you to get to. Communication things, once again, you're going to find that all the hipster kids today doing the texting stuff, that's actually maybe one of the best ways for you to actually get a hold of people, because the amount